The software that tax professional uses to prepare a client's tax return is the most important professional tool. So in this video, I will go over top 5 tax softwares in the industry and compare them by the following characteristics: price, complexity of the tax return, size of the company, customer service, how easy it is to use it, if it's a Mac or Windows based, and other characteristics. So let's dive in and let me help you to choose the right tax software for you. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kat and I'm a CPA with more than 10 years of experience working in different industries. I was working at Big Four and music business management. Now I work for myself. I'm a freelancer. So I'm using all kind of tax softwares for my work. So that's the reason why I decided to create this channel. So please subscribe to my channel for updates for tax softwares. And also, if you would like to start your own tax practice one day, I will make sure to record some videos on that topic as well. Let's start on the video. Alright guys, so let's start with number 1, which I think is the most important when you choose a tax software, is the price, right? So in general, I would just start with the cheapest, most affordable one, and I will explain the pros and cons for each of the pricing for each product. So Drake Tax Software, if you go to their website, you can see they have unlimited version for individual and business, and it's like 2,400, right? So in the market of tax softwares, there is no comparison to that for a price because it's individual and business unlimited, and certain softwares that we'll talk about, they have individual unlimited, but business you have to pay per tax return. So I think for pricing, I think Drake Tax Software is the best for pricing, right? And then the second one on the list, that would be Proseries. So for Proseries, you can find this amount on the screen right now, which is also not very expensive. I think it's 1,500 or something. They have unlimited individual tax return. So 1040 is unlimited. Then you have to pay for business tax return. I think it's a good price too. It really just depends how many business tax return you're planning to prepare. The next one will be Proconnect. So Proconnect, as you can see, they have this 2,800, I think for 50 or 75 tax returns. And that's kind of like expensive, right? It's more on expensive side. But Proconnect wins in different things that I will discuss more in details in this video. So I would just not disregard Proconnect completely just because how expensive it is. It has a lot of pros. Next one will be CCH Axcess. So as you see right now, they have a package 2,200 for 100 tax returns, 1040 unlimited, plus you pay for business tax return. It's actually a really good price, very solid tax software. They don't have a paper tax return, but you kind of need to buy that package, and that's just something I'll discuss later. Next one will be Lacerte. So Lacerte is the most expensive for all of them, but it's also like, I do think it's a really solid tax software. So majority of the companies that I've noticed who are purchasing Lacerte are bigger company or somebody who used their Lacerte at their previous employer. The accuracy is great. It is more expensive, so I couldn't find the exact price for them, but I know they're more expensive than any of them I mentioned by a lot. But I found this article on Reddit, so you can just take a look. But I think that's pretty much what I would expect for Lacerte. Something I would like to mention, so those are packages, for unlimited packages those softwares have, but also the pros for, like, let's say you want to be tax preparer, you don't need 50 tax return, you don't need 100 tax return, you just want to prepare 10 tax return. So for you, I would probably recommend Drake Tax. They have this package that costs like 600 that you already get like 10 individual tax return, 10 business, and that's already included, right? So it's pay per tax return, and already some tax returns are included. Lacerte has that option. Yes, the most expensive tax software. They have like 500 you pay, but you pay for all tax return additionally. I think Proseries has that too, so I'm just gonna list the price right here if you find one. Proconnect is the same way. So you pay per tax return, but the prices are kind of expensive. It's like $60 per tax return, which is a lot for a filing fee. But it's also like super, you know, like friendly, user-friendly tax software. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're just starting out, you need to prepare tax return, I would look into Drake Tax, maybe even Lacerte, or let's see, Proconnect. I think those three. If you're bigger, I would definitely go with CCH Axcess or Drake Tax, because those are just my favorite. And for user-friendly, and if you have no experience preparing taxes, I think Proconnect is the best. So I'm going to talk more about all this kind of stuff, but that's just a general idea. So I hope that is helpful for you. And just a note, if you end up purchasing the tax software after watching this video, please shoot me an email. I would like to know that actually this video was helpful for you. That would mean a lot for me. All right, let's go to the next one. So for complexity, if you have a very complex tax return, my favorites, and also I'll show you some stats if I find one, would be probably CCH Axcess, because it is pretty complex tax software. You can prepare a really complex tax return using it. And Lacerte is also, but it's also, if you compare price between CCH Axcess and Lacerte, if that makes a big difference for you, I would recommend CCH Axcess. And of course, Lacerte. So for complex tax returns, CCH Axcess and Lacerte wins by other tax returns by a lot. So if you're planning to do very complex tax return, maybe look into those two tax softwares. Easy to navigate. So I do think that I would give number one, top one would be Proconnect. Proconnect is the easiest to navigate, so if you don't have experience preparing taxes, in Proconnect you probably will be able to figure it out, right? The cons of using Proconnect, it will be hard to do very complex tax return, but for like 99% of tax return, you would be able to use Proconnect, and it's easy to navigate. And now I'm just gonna go through the other softwares and just explain my opinion. So Drake tax software, I think it is easy, okay to navigate if you have previous tax experience. It's not the easiest. I think Drake is one of the most complex one, but the good things about Drake, they have a lot of materials, like learning materials online, articles online, and their customer service is the best. Like, they're very helpful. So that's about Drake. And then let's see, Proseries. Proseries, it's kind of similar to Drake, I would say. So you have to have experience preparing taxes. Maybe it's a little bit more simple to use than Drake Tax, and their tax software is all right. I can't say anything like great or horrible about them. They're okay. CCH Axcess, harder to navigate. You have to have lots of experience, I would say, especially with their sourcing and stuff like that. And Lacerte is also kind of hard to navigate. So I think what I want to say is that Proconnect is the best for easy to navigate. Everything else is kind of, it's a learning curve. And just want to add, if you want to compare, do a test drive for different tax softwares, you can purchase my online course, and that course will actually cover those 5 tax softwares. So you will receive access to all 5 tax softwares preparation courses, right, for each tax software, and you can just test drive them. So for all of them, I will give you the access to the tax software so you can try it out yourself, and also you'll have like videos about how to do different things, so you can just watch the video and decide or practice yourself. For CCH Axcess, I don't have the software at the moment, so that one will be just kind of like watching videos how to do things so you can understand if it's hard or not. But anyways, I think that's an amazing course, so go to my website, check it out. Maybe that will be helpful for you. Well, thank you. So time for preparing simple tax returns. I do think that the same as I said for a previous point, Proconnect is the best. It takes less time. I almost feel like anybody almost with no tax experience can do it. For other ones, it's more complex, but again, Proconnect costs more. So it really depends if you want to learn or if you want just something more expensive but easier to use. So you choose. So next point would be online versus desktop, and then which means pretty much Mac versus Windows. So the only tax software available on the market that is online based, that it can also be used right on Windows or Mac is Proconnect, right? That's it, no more. So that's why they charge premium for that. Everything else is desktop and Windows based. So if you're a Mac user, you will need to sign up for, I guess, remote desktop kind of things. I use Amazon Workspaces or like Sage Network Workspaces or others. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like any of the remote desktop spaces, they also they can sell you their own hosting, right? So you can buy it from them and use theirs, but it's the same as just setting up remote desktop yourself. And please let me know if you have any questions on this. So Proconnect is the only one that is truly web-based, online-based. So favorites by the size of the firm. So in general, what I want to mention is that if you look at those statistics, and I use the Journal of Accountancy as my base for this analysis. So as we can see, for companies with one tax preparer, the Drake tax is favorite, right? Drake tax. And I can explain why it's the best. It's just because it provides unlimited individual and business tax return, and the price is really good. So yeah, so for a smaller companies, like one tax preparer, I would definitely recommend Drake Tax, unless you had experience or for other reasons you would like to use other tax softwares. For a number of preparers 2 to 5, we can see that it's kind of like then people start using Lacerte more, and they start using CCH Axcess more. So they start using more other tax softwares, but still Drake Tax is very important. I do not provide opinion on UltraTax because I just haven't used it for years, so I'm sure I just kind of would be irrelevant, but I will provide you my opinion on other top 5 tax softwares. So for number of 6 to 20 tax preparer, we can see a tendency of Lacerte increasing. I mean, I guess decreasing from 2 to 5, but in general, like it's a big one, but also huge increase for CCH Axcess, right? Tax users. So for companies between 6 to 20 tax preparers, definitely I think CCH Axcess is an amazing option. Drake tax software, I guess it's getting a little smaller right here. And then if the company becomes bigger, we can see a tendencies for CCH Axcess to constantly increasing. And basically that's what I mentioned. CCH Axcess is great for huge companies. And that's what I've been seeing, like Ernst & Young using CCH Axcess and other companies. So in any case, so for bigger companies, CCH Axcess is a top. Drake tax software somehow is popular here, but not as much as here. So I'm not exactly sure why. I think Drake tax is awesome, but I would definitely recommend CCH Axcess for bigger companies, and or if you're planning to like prepare so many tax returns. And then Lacerte is popular, Proseries, and other tax softwares as well. Also, a side fact, I was reading statistics about decision making in choosing the tax software. I think majority of Drake tax software users, it's like 93%, they mentioned that they chose the tax software, which compared to other tax software like CCH Taxes, it's only like 20% or something, because this is smaller companies, CPA companies who make decisions, and usually for those people, decisions are made by their employer. So that's it on the size of the company. So the next one is overall rating, right? So if you look at this statistics, right? So overall ratings, they all seem like have really good overall ratings because the professional tax softwares are awesome. But the best one, I think, is it seems like Drake Tax has the best overall ratings, which I would agree. If you compare pros and cons, especially for smaller businesses, which is smaller businesses is up to like, hundreds of tax returns even, this is good one. Let's see how easy it's to update installation process. So Drake Tax said easy. And which one? CCH Axcess more difficult. I do agree it's harder to install CCH Axcess and updates takes forever. So in that way, Drakes are easier. Lacerte is kind of like, it's like in the middle, right? So somehow CCH Axcess has lower things in here, except electronic filing is pretty good, which they all have pretty good factors. Yeah, so I guess in general, if they would recommend to somebody else, they like Drake tax is like huge. This is like very significant number right here. Which, you know, I think it's true because it has something to do with the Drake tax users. They do choose the tax software themselves, which majority of like CCH Axcess, Lacerte, like employer chooses the tax software for them. So I think whoever answered those questions probably were employees, not business owners. But in general, I do agree with that. I think Drake tax is great in general. CCH Axcess, I'm not sure if I agree with this one. I think it's pretty awesome software. I think it just might be a little harder because majority of whoever answered this probably employees of a huge company who has like a very complex tax return. So maybe for them it's a little bit easier, harder, which I do think for CCH Axcess, you do need to a little bit more experience to use it because it's like layout is like you have to know where things go, which is Drake tax, and other ones are easier. But I would think I would give Lacerte and CCH Axcess the same score. And then Proseries is here a little lower than Drake, which I do agree. And Proconnect would be, I think it would be also recommended, but the price is more expensive as we already talked about it. Complexity. So in general, as I did just mention about that, I think in general it's what we can look at. Forms, number of forms. So I think that would be a good indicator. So for number of forms, let's see what we have in here. So CCH Axcess, as I did mention, is great product for more complex tax return. Drake tax, not as much, as I did mention. Lacerte is pretty good too. So yeah, here you go. They have the same result as I do. That's awesome. I do agree with this. For number of form, for complexity of tax return, CCH Axcess would be my choice. Then Lacerte or Lacerte CCH Axcess on the same line. And then would go all other tax softwares, to be honest. So I would go with Proseries, Drake, and then Proconnect. Alrighty, and then customer service, support, let's see what they say. Support, they like Drake ones. Yeah, Drake tax software is really good. Like you call them and they always solve your problem. I love it. This is amazing, which not all the tax softwares do. CCH Axcess, honestly, I didn't have time, like contacted their support because I was trying to figure that out on my own somehow. So that's just my experience with that. Proconnect depends. Like Intuit, they have like good customer service, but they're not able to solve my problems as they always do in Drake tax software. So yeah, so that's my point on this. Style. So for a style, it's just more my preferences, which one looks better and easier to use. So again, I think Proconnect is the best style, like kind of like the way it looks. Yeah, I think Proconnect looks the most beautiful, if that matters to you. It does for me a little bit. So all others, they're just tax softwares, but Proconnect is beautiful and it's just easier to use. But again, you pay you pay more for that kind of look and that it's online based and that kind of stuff. So that's my point on this one. As in conclusion to this videos, I do think that all the tax softwares are great. Those are my top 5. I use those tax softwares almost every day for different clients. So if you have any questions about any of the tax software, please feel free to email me or comment below. I usually reply within 24 hours to my comments on YouTube. But in general, my idea would be like, first of all, maybe choose the tax software that you used before if you have an experience. That would save you so much time during the tax season. So if you used to use Lacerte, maybe do use Lacerte again or another tax software. Also, maybe like try to project how many clients you're planning to have, what kind of clients you're planning to have. And also, of course, I would recommend you to take my online course on this tax drive, on this top 5 tax softwares, and just kind of compare them and decide for yourself. Also, you can use those online courses when the tax season comes around and you have a question, oh, how do I record the sale of house in this tax software? So super helpful. Any case, thank you so much for watching my video. Like I mentioned, if you did decide to purchase the tax software after watching this video, please send me an email. That would mean so much for me. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.